welcome again, once again, to another episode of The Assembly with your host of YAHUAH, Sayah. And today, we're going to pick up where we left off as usual, and we're going to jump right into this in Bere'Shiyth, chapter 16, verse 8. And I'd like to say thank you to YAHUAH for giving us these scriptures, these living stories that we may also live and learn His way in the name of His Son, Yahushua. All right. Verse 8 of chapter 16. And he said, Hagar, Sarah's maid, whence came you, and whither will you go? And she said, I flee from the face of my mistress Sarah. And the angel of YAHUAH said unto her, Return to your mistress, and submit yourself under her hands. The angel began by identifying her. We likely needed her to hear who she was. Or should I say, he likely needed her to hear who she was. Not that it made it better, but she probably needed to understand it, that she could not run from it. After all, she was carrying Abram's unborn child. He would not let that go so easy. He says, look, you left your home, your safe haven, your owners. Where do you think you're going? Where can you go? You are pregnant. You have nothing. And how far will you get on your own? Aside from which, that man will be coming for you and his child. What do you think he would do if he catches you? After you have his child, you will be untrustworthy. In tears and anger and frustration, she probably answered him in a low voice. She heard what he said and understood what he said. She could only express her sorrow in this brief statement. So he sort of commands her to return. Make things right. Be submissive and do not fight back. No matter how wrong you feel you have been done, no matter the evil they do to you, be submissive. Rulers can be cruel with their power and their position. But as the ruled, do not resist them. Submit, he said. Verse 10, and the angel of YAHUAH said unto her, I will multiply your seed exceedingly, that it shall not be numbered for multitude. This is interesting wording. It almost sounds like he is separating her and her unborn child from Abram and Sarah. Then her seed will go on a separate and be numerous in the lands. Her seed shall completely be separated from Abram's seed. Verse 11. And the angel of YAHUAH said unto her, Behold, you are with child, and shall bear a son, and shall call his name Yishmael, because YAHUAH has heard your affliction. And he will be a wild man, his hand will be against every man, and every man's hand against him, and he shall dwell in the presence of all his brethren. I should recognize that this was the angel of YAHUAH. This angel represented YAHUAH. As representative, ambassador, his words were as though YAHUAH was there himself speaking these words. Therefore, they should not be taken lightly. The full authority of YAHUAH was behind his words. What this angel said would come to be because they were YAHUAH's will. That is why it was repeated that he was an angel of YAHUAH. So, he goes on to let her know that not only does YAHUAH know she is with child, but even tell her the child is a son. If that is not enough, he tells her what the child's name will be and why. The why is special. Why is because YAHUAH heard her affliction. He heard what she went through as she went through it. He heard her cries, her screams, her prayers, and her resistance. He had compassion for her. In all that he is responsible for, he took the time to see her, to care for her. She did not even know him, but he knew her, and that was enough. Just for her, he goes on to tell her about her seed. That prophecy was probably not seen by her, but we all see it today and do not understand it. It was spoken by YAHUAH on this day to the mother of this seed. This seed, Islam, was born under this situation. The rape of their mother, servitude to the rapist, the harsh treatment endured to their captors because of their resistance to what evil that they faced. Hagar's experiences is all her seed's experiences. They carry that with them to this day and chooses not to forget. Verse 13, and she called the name of YAHUAH that spoke unto her, "You see me." For she said, "Have I also here spoken after him that sees me?" She recognized and accepts the name of he who spoke to her. She believed YAHUAH. Verse 14, wherefore the well was called Bere'Shiyth. Behold, it is between Kadesh and Bered. Verse 15, and Hagar bore Abram a son, and Abram called his son's name, which Hagar bore, Yishmael. This is simply to say that she did as YAHUAH had bid her. She was obedient to YAHUAH. It remains to be seen if she would continue to honor him or if she would look to another. Verse 16, and Abram was 86 years old, he was 86, when Hagar bore Yishmael to Abram. So, Abram would have been about 75 or 76 when YAHUAH told him that he would have an heir of his own generation. All right, moving on to chapter 17, verse 1. And when Abram was 90 years old and 9, YAHUAH appeared to Abram and said unto him, I am El Shaddai, walk before me and be perfect. Okay, I did mispronounce that. It was El Shaddai. That means the El that is enough. So in other words, he said, I am the El that is enough. All right. There has been a passage of time. He observed it with the phrase, and when. The writer goes on to tell us his current age so we would know how much time had passed, which would have made Yishmael 13, or approximately. So I'm going to write that down so I don't forget. All right. The writer goes on to tell us his current age so we would know how much time had passed. More significant, so we would know how much time since YAHUAH last spoke with him. Now notice that YAHUAH appeared to him. Not his angel, not his Ruach, not in a vision or a dream. YAHUAH appeared to him. Curiously, Abram is called El Avram. What does that mean? YAHUAH goes on to speak to El Avram face to face. I can picture Abram lying prostrate on the ground or floor, face down. Whether that was the case or he was looking at him eye to eye, YAHUAH says something most remarkable. He identifies himself. He says, Yahu El Shaddai. I am the El that is enough. Why would he identify himself this way? Let us consider, since Abram first met him, his wealth has increased, he has been promised a vast land, and he has been promised not only his own heir, but a generation that will be numbered like the stars, innumerable. But wait, did Abram believe him? Abram, at the guidance of his woman, sought to bring about his heir by his own doing. He either did not believe, did not trust, or was too impatient to wait on YAHUAH to give him his own heir. So now, YAHUAH tells him that he is enough, that YAHUAH is enough. You do not have to follow your woman. I am enough. You do not have to depend on your own ability. I am enough. I could imagine him saying that with some intensity, since seeing how Abram was not fully committed to his plan. Farther, he said, do not confuse me with other Elohim. Maybe you forgot what I look like. Perhaps you have forgotten the sound of my voice and maybe even my works. Whatever the case, it is me. I am he. I am your exceeding great reward. I am enough. Then he tells El Avram to walk before him, not behind or alongside. He said, walk before me. Was YAHUAH putting El Avram before him? Was this a statement to say, I value your needs and I'm putting you first? Or maybe there was a hole up ahead and he wanted El to fall into it to teach him a lesson. Right? I think he wanted El to appreciate his relationship with the king. Why would you doubt he who places you before himself? Do not ever do that again. I think it was something like that. Additionally, El see neither his face nor any part of him from in front of him. And while YAHUAH was behind him, and they were walking. That put Abram in a position to depend on YAHUAH for guidance on where to go. He also had to trust that he would not lead him into a compromising position that could cost him either a little, much, or his life. And seeing how he had neither prepared for this trip nor knew where they were going, he also had to depend on YAHUAH for his supply. He had to know that YAHUAH was enough, and he did not have the benefit of looking him in the eyes, to look at his expressions, to see and read his body language. He only had the sound of his voice to guide him to where he was to go. That is trust, that is belief, and sometimes you may not hear his voice when you think you need to. He knew YAHUAH was behind him. That was enough. Even when he could not see or hear him, that was enough. Last, he says, be perfect. He did not say act perfect, become perfect, or appear perfect. No. He said, look, I made you perfect, you are perfect, so be perfect the way I made you. And if he was perfect, so am I, and so are you. All right, verse 2. And I will make my covenant between me and you, and will multiply you exceedingly. He already covered a covenant with Abram. It seems that he has not yet begun to fulfill it, and he is putting that in perspective. He is saying that this is not going to happen overnight, but when it happens, I will make it between you and me. No matter who else gets blessed as a result is not even important, because you and I are in covenant. It has nothing to do with what they do or do not do. All right, we got a few more minutes, so let's keep going. Verse 3. And Abram fell on his face, and Elohim talked with him, saying, verse 4, 5, and 6. As for me, behold, my covenant is with you, and you shall be a father of many nations. Neither shall your name any more be called Abram, but your name shall be Abraham. For a father of many nations have I made you. And I will make you exceeding fruitful, and I will make nations of you, and kings shall come out of you. YAHUAH keeps emphasizing that he is both doing and going to do what he is doing and going to do for and through Abram. The first promise he made Abram was to make him a great nation, that he would have his own seed in the world, and they would be numerous and mighty. In fact, kings would come of his seed. In this world, a king is the highest seat among men, and because he will father so many nations, his name is now Abraham, father of multitudes. So Abram alone must have meant father. That aside, YAHUAH keeps stating and restating his promises to Abram. In fact, he has given Abram a promise on about 13 prior occasions. They range from making him a great nation to making him exceedingly blessed. This is how YAHUAH rewards obedience to those whom he favored and whom is obedient to him. There was nothing given to suggest that Abram was any kind of staunchly upright man prior to YAHUAH speaking to him. Conversely, it was more likely that he was an idolater, as was the custom where he came from. Looking in, very little suggests that Abram learned and upheld YAHUAH's ways after having been commanded by him. He continued to lie, and he committed an adulterous act after YAHUAH deemed him righteous. Or should I say, an act of fornication? Well, maybe not. According to Sarai, Hagar was his woman. So maybe it wasn't an adulterous act, maybe just forced relations. Either way, but YAHUAH being the judge of all that he surveys, found it appropriate to deem him righteous and favor him among men. And I'm going to favor wrapping up this episode and continuing it next time on this assembly. This is your servant YAHUAH saying thank you and enjoy this good day. I'll see you next time.